somehow disturbed, and people are worried. And so that will take the focus of our discussions today. Already I have two guests. One is seated here in the studio, and the other will be joining us from Lagos via Zoom, to be looking at what really is happening, the EndSARS, what is the way forward, what next? Really, it will be the question that we'll be seeking the answer from our two guests. From Lagos, we'll be having Dennis Amakri. He was with us last week, also looking at the issue about election security. Today, we'll be looking at the issue of EndSARS protest. Dennis Amakri was an assistant director with the Department of State Security, and he is currently a senior member of the ASIS, American Society for Industrial Security. In fact, he's the senior vice president, region 44, which I also belong to. So he is my boss, and in the area of security. So it's our pleasure to have him standing by to contribute on this issue of EndSARS from the security practitioner perspective. In the studio, I have a man who have seen it all when you talk about security and live. I'm talking about Assistant Inspector General of Police, Bala Hassan. He's retired, but he's not tired. He is a legal practitioner now, and he's also a trainer, a specialized trainer, and a legal practitioner. He's, for as far as I'm concerned, he's an academician because he likes reading and researching on issues. So we're having him here to look at SARS police reform. What is the way forward? But that will be after this report by Shirley Daniels on what happened, what led to the success when people judge the Edo and Ondo state elections successfully from the perspective of the Nigerian Army. Sit back as we bring you this report.
Following the commendation of the Nigerian Army provision of outer layer security for Edo and Ondo state governorship elections, the General Officer commanding the 2 Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Anthony Omozoje, had attributed the exceptional conduct of the Nigerian Army personnel who participated in the Operation Safe Conduct to the strategic direction and leadership of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. He said this when Security Watch Africa visited him in his office in Ibadan.
One thing that was very key to the success that we achieved was knowing clearly what your higher commander wanted. If you know exactly what your boss wants, it gives you that impetus to be able to achieve that. And we got a clear directive from the Chief of Army Staff. He said, no illegality. No soldier will be used for anything illegal. You have to be professional, you must be apolitical, you must be neutral, and you must be impartial. And so that was so clear, and I took that message to all the officers, to the soldiers. And so when we deployed them on the field, they knew exactly where they stood. And I can tell you, it is not that they didn't make effort to compromise the soldiers, but it was, they knew exactly what the higher commander's intent was. And that is what enabled us to stand our ground and do what we did. The drive by the Chief of Army Staff to professionalize the Nigerian Army is taking root. It's taking root. Officers understand better what it is to be professional. We've taken time to improve on our knowledge and understanding of what the rules are, what our roles are in the exercise, and we stick to it.
Speaking further on the elections, the GOC affirmed that the Nigerian Army personnel deployed on election duties always conduct themselves according to the electoral law binding the specific election.
By the INEC regulations, we have specific assignments allotted to us, the military. One is we block all the major entry points into the states wherein the election is taking place. And then within the states, local government boundaries, we hold them because you are supposed to be restricted to where you are voting. You vote there and then you, so no movement across local governments or in and out of the state during the voting process. And so we were deployed at all the major entry points and then within the states. And also, there are certain critical locations where we are deployed. And by the regulation, police is in the inner, then the army holds the outer cordon.
It is clear that the Chief of Army Staff vision to have a professionally responsive Nigerian Army is evolving, with personnel of the Nigerian Army diligently keeping to the tenets of good soldiering. Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Ibadan.
Welcome back. We must commend the Army for that role because people had asked, why should we bring the Army during the election? But I think gradually everything is getting strengthened up and we understand it better. So to our topic today, we actually put up a little intro by Peggy Agbe about to kickstart our discussion. So sit back as we give you this intro by Peggy Agbe.
Widespread protests of some Nigerian youths agitating for the scrapping of Special Anti-Robbery Squad (SAS) of the Nigerian Police Force has been on the news for over 9 days now and seem not to be ending anytime soon, as people are still parading in the streets with protests. The Special Anti-Robbery Squad (SAS) was created in 1992 to deal with crimes associated with armed robbery, car theft, kidnapping, and all crimes involving firearms. Under the mounting pressure, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, on Sunday, the 11th of October 2020, announced the dissolution of SAS as demanded by the protesters.
The Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police, otherwise known as SAS, is hereby dissolved across all formations, the 36 state police commands, and the Federal Capital Territory, where they currently exist.
But in the desire to fill the vacuum created with the scrapping of SAS, announced the formation of a new unit named Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT Team. IGP Adamu promised that the disbanded SAS personnel will not be a part of the new SWAT team. Even with this new development, the protesters have refused to end the protest, with more areas joining the protests. In some areas, there have been counter-protests and even some recorded attacks. 5-point demands were made and presented to the federal government. In its desire to end the protest, government accepted the demands and has taken actions to implement their demands. Yet, the protesters are not giving up. At this juncture, it is obvious that the protest is no more about #EndSARS. Protesters are threatening to ground the economy and bring the Nigerian government to its knees. What will be the end of this drama? Peggy Agbe, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, I think before I come to our studio guest, AIG Bala Hassan, let me go straight to my brother, Dennis Amakri, who is already on, waiting for us. Yes, sir. EndSARS campaign have been everywhere. And what is your take first? Let me take from there. What is your take on the EndSARS and where we are now?
Well, you know, we have always kept an eye on this particular situation. The call for a reformation of the police had been on for years. People
Okay, yeah, welcome back. I think we'll have network issues there. So let me come to, so it's a pleasure to have you on the program. Yes, you're an assistant Inspector General of Police, retired though. Looking at this EndSARS, how do you see it?
Well, before even the EndSARS, we will acknowledge that the federal government had taken various steps to reform the Nigerian police. If you recall, sometimes 2019, the president approved the police trust fund. It's for the purpose of the reforming the police. And this year, he appointed a chairman for the trust fund. And again, there was an approval for the new Police Act 2020. So all these are measures taken by the, by the government on their own to see how they reform the police. Okay. So with all these ones now, all we need to do is for Nigerians to see action on all these things put together by the president.
But, so it seems that the cry of these protesters, this Nigerian youth, it's primarily on SARS, their illegality.
Well, if you reform the police, indirectly you are reforming SARS. It's the whole gamut of the police. What does this thing entail? You give better deal for the police. The police trust fund is supposed to get 0.05% of money from the Federation Account Allocation Committee, and also 0.05% of all money for all profit made by company doing business in Nigeria. That's a lot of money. And I believe this money has been started accruing into the fund since last year. So just for the chairman of the fund to get the necessary approach to take off, let us see how we can build more barracks, more police stations, more welfare for the police, more area of training, which will help the present agitation, because it's because of lack of training. A SARS person will come and be opening somebody's phone to see whether it's a Yahoo man. In those days, SARS men they don't even interact with members of the public. If you trace the history of SARS, people are saying SARS started 1992. No, SARS started 1984 during the time of 18 years. There was serious robbery in Lagos, whereby the then president called young Antonio that was fired on the mountain issue. Either do something or be sacked. He called the management team, and the burden fall on retired CP Fulani Kwajafa, Nigerian, who was brought before the then IG, recommended to then IG to see how they could do something to prevent this robbery. He was given 27 vehicles, and he recruited his own men. Unlike a situation like this, whereby SARS is based on recommendation, people, every person, Tom, Dick, and Harry want to join SARS. In those days, you have to be a good character, you have to be bold, you have to be have the desire to do the work. And SARS don't just go to the road and start arresting people. They always say that their office at Danger Delhi, if there was a distress cause in Lagos, they will move in and take care of the situation.
Okay, we'll get back to where we got it wrong and the way forward. But let me go back to then Sam Makri in Lagos. He's back and he's been waiting. Yes, you are saying that this has been on, this agitation has been on. Yes.
Well, yeah, okay. We are. You can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
This agitation has been on, and it was a structural agitation that has been allowed to overflow. Because when you think about it, you know, we want to end SARS, or they want to change the name. SARS name has been changed many times, or should I say it has been disbanded so many times, almost about 4 times in a period of 7 years. Okay, and they always come back, and that's why you see the agitators are refusing to accept what the IGP has said, because they said this is not going to be like the same thing. And if you remember very well, I've been one of the proponents of SWAT. I've been suggesting SWAT teams, which are not supposed to be police people that you see every day on the road. Just like the AIG is saying with you there, that when even SARS was formed, they were not supposed to be on the way, on the road, on the create checkpoints and stuff like that. So they were supposed to be in their barracks doing regular mandatory training until they are called upon. They come out, they do what they have to do, and they go back. But it has been bastardized in such a way that SARS people are all over the place. They are now doing financial crimes, stopping young people who are driving cars or who are having iPhones, and you know. So you find out that the command and control of that particular unit has gone to haywire, and no control at all. But when you sit back and listen to all these things, you find out that the agitation is just a symptom. The original problem, the root cause of this problem, is the structure of the police. This police, the Nigerian police, is supposed to be restructured. restructured right from the beginning, changed the name to Nigeria Police Service, because they don't believe that they are supposed to serve the public, you know, and then of course do other police work. Then most of these people who are coming and jumping into SARS, in fact, there was a former commissioner of police who was saying that many people come into the police, they are lobbying to go to SARS or to go to Mopol. Why? And then, of course, you see what is happening with the Mopol. Why are Mopol now restricted to escorting politicians up and down? They are supposed to be the riot police. That's what we used to call them when they were formed. And now they are into something else. So, in fact, it is a restructuring of the whole system.
Okay.
If we have to give Nigeria a very, very good police.
All right. I think that is also in line with what the AIG here had just said, that the process has commenced. But maybe the difference is that maybe it's not as fast as the protesters wanted.
It is not a matter of being fast. Because, you see, some of the things they are asking for cannot be done overnight.
Yes.
But there is a trust deficit. People don't trust the police, you know, and then of course it also extends into governance.
Okay.
Because when you look at now, it has moved from NSAS or NSWAT to good governance.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we have to watch this particular protest.
Yeah, because I was going to call you. I was going to take you up on that before I come back to my guest in the studio. Yes. Would you say that the government and the police handle this protest right? Are they handling it right? Because it seems it's not just NSAS any longer. It's not even just, some people have said that this is even to bring down the government. As a security expert, what do you think, and how can we handle this better so that it won't blow out of hand? It's already getting there.
I have warned about this. In fact, I warned about this when we had the situation in Mali. You know, it started like this. People went to the streets and they were all out there singing for days, I think almost more than a week, before the soldiers came and joined them and then asked the president to resign. Now we're having a situation like that. And see, people are now bringing all the old problems that they've been having to come and bear on it. But one thing I like about the Nigerian government right now is that they've been able to, you know, address them quickly. They are not keeping quiet. They've end SARS, they've dissolved SARS, you know, release the people that have been arrested, they've released them. But they are asking for more. And I think the government also should do more. Because right now, it looks like some people are not talking. Where are the local government chairmen? Where these things are happening? They are not saying anything. Where are the legislators? Where are they? Because that is also one of the things they are saying now.
Yeah, because, sorry to cut you in there, because we had said that for even some of all these actions they're agitating for to be enduring, not just in the temporary, there's need for a legislative act, there's need to make it a law so it can stay. But it seems that nobody's looking at that angle.
Exactly. Yeah. The legislators are supposed to come up. You know, we'll be talking about state police, but state police cannot be done by the president. It is the legislators that are going to change the Police Act, where it says that there will be only one Nigeria police force. You know, they have to work on that. Right. So where are they? Okay.
All right. Unfortunately, we'll have to end it here. If you ask that question, we'll seek the answers during the week, and maybe we may get back to you. Thank you very much, Dennis Amakri, for being part of this show today.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. In fact, he asked a lot of questions. He talked a lot of things, and my mind was just agitating. I knew that you were one time the Commissioner of Police in charge of Mobile Police Force, and you tried to change what he was talking about. He did a lot, I must confess. But seeing all these things now, where do we go from now? The IG has announced SWAT. Some people said that it was so quick. So that is why people did not believe, the protesters are not believing. He would have waited and let it, but he just announced it. Don't you think there's a mistake there?
Well, we don't want to create a vacuum, because people are already saying that if SARS is gone, it will give a psychological boost out to the criminals to come and take over the streets.
Yeah.
about 2-3 days ago, there was some incursion in some part
Exactly.
of northern Nigeria, they said, because SARS was not there. So you see, the criminals are watching. These people who are on the streets, they may not be the armed robbers, but the armed robbers are somewhere which monitoring all these things. So if you create a vacuum, psychologically they may capitalize on the vacuum and unleash mayhem on the members of the public. So the IG was right in doing that. But additional to that, if you look at history, these counter-terrorism units, I remember when I was Commissioner of Police in charge of mobile, the counter-terrorism unit and the mobile police were under me. Suddenly I run into a memo by Alozio Bugwaja talking that Nigeria is getting more complex, they need to have a unit like that. I sent it to the then IG, approve it. They normally wear red beret. And when I moved to River, the River State government undertook to train these people in Israel. About 60 of them were sent to Israel. That formed the nucleus of the counter-terrorism unit, even though some of them were trained in infantry center and school. But those who went to Israel did very well. The IG must fish out these boys who were part of the Israel team to come and join this SARS team and to train them in Nowatai, where we have an anti-terrorist school in Tai. So these are some of the things that I'm sure IG must have, if you check the record, you will see that, those initial people that are trained in Israel are still in the force. We should get them to form a nucleus of this this SWAT team. Yeah. And of course, the new police reform that is on, and the new police act is friendly to civilians, to the members of the public. Any person who is detained in a station now more than stipulated time by the act, you have right to go to a magistrate court, either verbally or in writing, to complain. Based on that, they will bring that person before your court and release him. So, and as Mr. Makri said, the original concept of SARS is not to allow those teams to be interacting with members of the public regularly. So they will be, I expect the new SWAT team to be based in strategic areas of the CTO or in the command headquarters. Anytime there was a distress call, they could move in and solve the situation and come back. So when you reduce the level of interaction between the teams and members of the public, you will not hear complaint. Okay. It's the interaction that causes complaint.
Yeah.
That's why they complain more on police than on customs and immigration, because if you are living from here from Kano, from Lagos to Kano, you meet more police officers than you meet immigration or any other services. So the more the interaction, the more the problem. You know, familiarity brings attempt, and later will bring contempt. Then domestic guerrilla warfare will set in for survival of identity, as we are noticing now. Because they are saying no SARS, no SARS. They say, okay, there is no SARS again. They are making more demands. But I hope they should be patient with the government. With some cost.
So I think maybe with this arrangement, I think things will be similar a bit. I just hope that these protesters will also listen and go back and watch and see what is going to happen.
Mr. Makri said, of course, everyone knows that the government is listening to their demand one by one and they're answering them as mature this. They are all our children. But if they meet up their demand one after the other, I'm sure they will see reason why they should. Not that the government doesn't know what to do, but we don't. This is democracy.
Yeah,
that's
so
why the IG said they shouldn't harass them, they shouldn't use anything. Otherwise, ordinary tear gas is not violence. You see, it's no use of force, it's no use of arms. You can use tear gas to tell them to leave, but we don't even reach that level. Through persuasion, I'm sure things will get better.
So it won't get out of hand and the military will have to come in.
No, we don't want a situation like that. In those days when we were young DPOs in Lagos, when something like this happens, we pray for them. When rain comes and falls, all the dawn will scatter. But this is a different thing. But I'm sure things will be much better.
And I really hope that the police, the government will get you involved, because you know this issue very, very well, especially the SWAT team that we're talking about. And so time is not our friend, so we're being asked to leave. But if you're around, or however, maybe next week, if there's any update, we would like to continue with you, because this is a national importance, and they are watching. Those in government, those in the authority, they are watching this program to make changes that as you recommend. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Yeah, that was Assistant Inspector General of Police, Bala Hassan, retired but not tired, a legal practitioner now and a trainer. I'm emphasizing on that trainer issue because he has learned a lot and he's impacting to a lot of people. So it's a pleasure having him, and it's a pleasure having you watch us today. Please do join us again next week so we can bring you another informative edition of this program. Thanks for bye now.